Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Brandon Cobb. I've got Ryan Glick on the show today. He's been building software for over 20 years. His background spans from startups to large organizations with focus on building simple, user friendly products that solve real problems. So, for example, he's got a website called letsgroove.com, letsgroov.com. This is a land development software. So, if you're a land developer, you need to go and check that out. He's the host of the Land Development Podcast, where he talks to land brokers, developers, industry pros around the country to learn how they work and what's driving their success. So we're going to kind of get into the land business details today. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, Brandon. Yeah, excited to dig into things.
Yeah, no, this is going to be fun because I am in the land business as well. So I am going to have a lot to talk to you about today. For those that don't know who you are, who are you and what's your story?
Yeah, well, before we recorded here, I mentioned to you that it's not often that I'm sitting on the other side of the mic because I'm usually, interviewing guests on my show and everything. So I like the change of pace here. But um, yeah, my background is largely in technology. So worked for different organizations over the years, building software for enterprises. What that means is essentially people in the business that need to do a certain job, trying to find ways to use technology to make them more efficient. Fast forwarding to about 2020, a co-founder and we decided to start a company in the land development space. My background is not in land development, funny enough, but my co-founder's background is because his dad is a big landowner and developer up here in the state where I'm located in Iowa. And so, yeah, we just dug into the development industry, had a lot of conversations with different developers, starting out in our market here in Des Moines, Iowa, and kind of expanding out from there and really just got interested in it. I love the people in the industry. I think it's a very, prior to this, I was largely working with people in the insurance industry, which nothing against people in insurance, but it's a different type of person that you're working with when you're working in insurance versus when you're working with developers and builders and, people who are, creating the communities that we live in and everything. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying it. And that kind of brings us to where we're at today.
Well, so while land development, it sounds like your partner maybe had some experience there. You mentioned his dad was a
Yep.
big developer in land.
Yeah, so again, my co-founder and we kind of going back to actually 2018, the two of us were working at the same company. We had a conversation and we're just like, hey, you know what? We don't want to do this forever. Maybe we can build something, right? And so we both love software. We love solving problems. And so coming out of that conversation, we started having conversations with different small businesses, right? So we didn't necessarily go directly to land development. We didn't want to go try to solve a problem or create a problem that didn't exist or anything like that because with software, it's really tough you can't just build it and then they will come. You have to go find an actual problem that an industry's having
Yeah.
and get people on board before you go build it. Otherwise, it's a really quick way to lose a bunch of time and money to go and build something when there's not really a problem. And so the land development industry just happened to come up out of a conversation we were having with a home builder. The home builder at the time asked us, he said, hey, is there any way that I can show what lots are available in the market to my consumers or prospective consumers who want to build a home because I want them to know where I could build. And so we took that concept and we dug into it and we said, well, how are the developers in this area actually managing their lot inventory? And
Mhm.
so once we asked that question, it was like, well, they didn't know how they were managing it, but we quickly found out that they were all managing it in spreadsheets. And so that right there caused a problem and made that data not accessible by the different builders who may want to know where they can build. You have to reach out to the developer, have them send you a spreadsheet and an email, and then look through that or a PDF file. They like to send around PDF files, and so they look at these PDF files, see what inventory is available, make sure that that PDF file is up to date. And so we saw this as a big problem right away. And that's when we started to reach out to the developers and say, hey, we've got an idea on how we can solve this. Would you be interested? And so we got three companies here in Des Moines on board, three developers. And so from there, we started to build the software kind of back and forth, getting feedback along the way. And yeah, that's how it all started.
Wow, interesting. Okay. So yeah, I understand that have the need first. You want to have that hungry crowd ready for your product when it launches because
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's not cheap building software. And if you've got the developers in house, the programmers, then it takes a lot of time. You know, I am kind of curious. This is a little off subject. Did you guys use AI to build the code or anything like that? Because I know ChatGPT and other models are getting very good at building software code.
They are. We started pre AI. So,
Ah,
yeah. So back in, we started writing code actually in 2020 for the platform. I can't remember the exact time when ChatGPT was released. When it was initially released, it was not great at writing
right.
code. Where we're at today, it's the percentage of how good it is getting higher and higher and higher. It's kind of scary how good it's getting. And and that's something definitely be interested in digging into more here a little bit later. But yeah, we didn't have any AI help building the platform in
Okay.
the beginning. Yeah, so we had to,
Didn't get that.
yeah,
That
we had
would
to
have been
write the
nice to
code.
have probably.
Oh
When
yeah,
you're
would have sped things up for sure.
so what were the particular pain points that you saw in the land development industry that other softwares weren't able to solve that made you guys say, "Hey, look, we need to create something around these needs?"
Yeah, well, there were two different pain points, two primary things that we solved initially with our lot management platform. First one was the developers helping them keep track of their lot inventory. So, inventory that's sold, inventory that's for sale, and then the pricing. A lot of that was managed in spreadsheets. So, our goal was we want to get that information out of spreadsheets into a platform. And then, secondarily to that, is the developers, a lot of times, especially in the smaller markets, they're selling inventory. They're not necessarily doing a development and selling every lot to a single builder. They're selling maybe 5 lots here, 5 lots there, maybe 1 lot over here. And so keeping track of their lot inventory as they go through the sales process is something they need, but they also present that on their website. So we built an interactive map that they can put on their website so consumers can come there, see what's available, and then inquire about, purchasing something. So those are really the two main pain points that we aim to solve. Now, as far as doing something that others weren't doing, I think the main thing we did differently is that the other products that were out there, they were solving similar problems, but they weren't really selling to the developers of the size that we were selling to, right? So they're kind of ignoring them. They were going after the
Yeah.
really big developers, big master plan community developers, and that's not really who we were targeting when we built this. We were going after the developers who have, they're building developments where they, plat them out and they have maybe 50 lots in this plat, maybe 50 lots in this plat. So they're not necessarily doing this, 3,000 lot or 5,000 lot master plan community. It's much smaller. And so a lot of the platforms that were out there were just too expensive for them to use, and it didn't make sense for them to go target these different development groups.
No, I understand that. There's different tiers of developers out there for
Right.
sure. So it sounds like on one end it was the lot management, like how many lots are available. I need to be able to go show my homeowners, where we could build some potential houses. That's like in the lot organization software. Well, what about on the acquisition side? Like what technologies are you seeing out there that are helping land developers find potential developer land, and how does your software help them do that? Because I was telling you on the call before that I just haven't found anything out there where I can click a couple filters and boom, it spits out a very high quality list of land that's right to go after for rezoning. It's got the sewer access, it's got the potential overlay for zoning regulations to rezone to higher density. It's got the not bad topo. And so we still build our lists manually because of that. But so what are you seeing out there that is really changing the industry as far as helping land developers find land to develop?
Yeah, well, so I mentioned our getting our start in lot management. Well, right about the middle of 2023, we started getting some of our customers asking us about being able to help them with the part of the process prior to doing the development, right? And so that meant the acquisition side. And so we didn't have any features that would help them do that. We were literally, once they had their developments designed and everything from the engineering groups, that's where our platform started. So everything before that, we didn't really help them with it. And so getting to your point, around the acquisition side, that's where we then in 2024 built a platform aimed at the land acquisition side. And really, our focus on that was about being able to being able to do the common stuff that different platforms do today around, you can click on a parcel and see who owns it and see some other attributes about the parcel, right? That's kind of table stakes when it comes to these types of platforms. But the thing that we wanted to do that was a little different is we wanted to build it for the developers and real estate professionals where, you're having a conversation with the landowner and you want to be able to document that conversation that you're having with them. So that way, if they say to you, hey, I'm not really interested in selling, but maybe reach out to me in a couple of years or something like that, or in a year. You want to know that you had a conversation with that person. And sometimes, well, a lot of times people don't even have CRMs that they're using, right, to keep track of conversations with people. But even that, on our platform, you can add notes, you can add documents and photos to every single parcel that's on the map. So that way you can have a record and kind of a history of reaching out to them. So that's something we did a little bit different for people. And we do actually have a CRM that's built into it as well. But I think what you're seeing now is the industry for land acquisition is starting to change quite a bit. Because of AI, you're seeing a lot more platforms pop up.
Mhm.
So it's something where I've, talking to different development groups and different brokers who might use these platforms, you are seeing a little bit of, I think, being overwhelmed with all the choices that are out there. And I
Mhm.
think that goes for most people, right? If you're, regardless of whether it's in this industry or any industry, right? If you're looking for a tool to solve a certain problem and you go search for it and you get like dozens or hundreds of different options, you're like, man, how am I going to find the thing that makes the most sense for me? And generally, the thing that most people lean on is social proof and maybe somebody they know who is using a platform, right? So if you have a buddy that is already using something that's solving the same problem that you're having, that's probably where you're going to go and look. And so I think it's important for software companies to make sure that they're taking care of their current customers because that word of mouth and referral is so important in this industry. But to get to your question, I feel like I'm kind of dancing around it. But to get to your question of what companies are starting to do to help people with land acquisition, I think it's getting into more of the AI analysis of particular parcels, being able to analyze a site for trying to do as much due diligence as you can on that single platform because as with the process that you do, you're hopping around between different places to be able to, do all of your due diligence. You're checking with the county website to look and make sure everything's right. You're checking the deed records. You're looking to make sure that everything is set before you really try to pursue it and reach out and have a
Mhm.
conversation. So I think trying to get as much of that process onto a single platform as possible, which is interesting. But that's kind of the main changes or main updates that I'm starting to see today.
Yeah. Well, so when you say like the AI analysis, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so on our platform right now, we are just now starting to release our first AI feature on the platform. We just haven't had a whole people haven't been knocking down our door saying, "Hey, I need this to be done," right? So really a lot of the AI features that are being done now are being done more from an innovation standpoint, right? It's almost like you think of the iPhone, nobody was asking for the iPhone, but they created it. Well, on the AI side, they're not necessarily asking for AI to solve problems, but technologists are trying to find ways to use that to make people more efficient. And so one of the things that we're doing right now is being able to put in or do more of a prompt to be able to specify what you're looking for as far as the types of attributes you're looking for in a parcel, and then allowing the platform to go find all of those and then present them to you, right? So um, people are becoming more familiar with writing prompts like in ChatGPT. Most people, it feels like, are using that now. And so being able to give people a way to do that on a GIS platform, within the context of a map and being able to say, hey, show me all parcels that are within, 50 miles of the Dallas, Texas, um, the DFW Metroplex or something, and then that are within or that are 200 to 250 acres and maybe zoned a certain way if that particular city has zoning, and then see what it gives back. And that kind of gives you a place to start rather than having to go kind of hunt and peck and click on every single parcel to see that data. You can then have a starting point. And so it's kind of bypassing that advanced search concept and doing something that's more like understands your language and what you're asking for.
Yeah, I hadn't seen anything that like what would be nice in a perfect world is if you get the right prompts and you can plug into like that upload the GIS mapping system and then it spits out a map that highlights all the lots that meet your criteria so that you can see them. That would be beneficial because I can then look and see ones are connecting to other communities or which ones have the road access. And it has filtered out a lot of the garbage for me, or it hasn't filtered out the garbage, but it allows me to see the really good parcels versus like the parcels that I don't want, right? The
Right.
landlocked stuff, the one that has the flood zone going through it or the wetlands or, issues. Um, are you seeing anything like that?
Yeah, I think you're going to start seeing more of that happening. It's probably going to be something that will be everybody will have, right? Because it's becoming easier to do that type of analysis. It just ends up being how fast can people deliver these different features and everything. So, it's something we're working on right now to get that delivered as soon as possible. Maybe by the time this is out, that feature will be out there and available. Now, I will say that with some of these features, we basically release them as trials in certain states. So like for instance, when we release this feature, it's only going to be available for the state of Texas. So that's something that we do when we release new features is we largely start them in a certain area, make sure that they, gain traction and that they're working as they should be working almost in a beta release period. And then once everything's going the way we want, then it becomes more openly available to the rest of the country.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So y'all are releasing features kind of one by one in certain areas,
Right.
testing it before launching it nationwide. Yeah, I'd love to see something like that. That would be super cool. Right now we're using AI for building out the custom GPTs because as you know, the city and the counties differ. Like
Right.
that's the biggest headache is you've got textbook amounts of information in the zoning regulations and the overlays and everything they require. And I tell people wanting to get into this business, we've got our whole land development accelerator where we teach this stuff. Don't think you're going to be able to memorize everything. That's what I
Right.
tell them. I'm like, if you think that you're going to come in this business and us teach you like everything there is to know to navigate zoning and the overlays, I mean, we triggered a conservation standard the other day and a lot that we're looking at subdividing. And I'm like, what's a conservation standard? I've never ran into that before. Well, 2 years ago, they updated it where if 20% of the lot has canopy, tree canopy covered in vegetation, then you have to preserve it. And you got to come up with a plan to do that. And I'm like, what
Mm,
the heck? But I was able to use ChatGPT to plug in and go find all the zoning regulations, the conservation standard, ask it questions, and then create responses for me to push back against the city. So I'm getting some initial feedback from the planning department before my official meeting with them and what they would kind of require and how they're looking at this parcel, feeding that in the GPT, feeding it the rules that they're going
right.
by and looking for my loopholes around it, right? And so it's not your ability to memorize everything, it's your ability to navigate the information and find what you need and interpret it. And man, ChatGPT has been a complete game changer. It's like magic now for land developers. That was like my big breakthrough moment. What did you have like an AI breakthrough moment with like what you're doing with AI in the industry?
Well, I mean, what you described there is like, that's like the perfect use for AI. And I hear that from others around using it by, whether they're having the GPT go out and find the documents to bring in, or they upload the documents to it and have it analyze it and provide, you know, a summary that's in layman's terms of things that they need to think about when actually doing a development or considering doing a development. Um, I don't know that there's necessarily a breakthrough. I would say I mean, on the technology side, there's certain platforms right now out there that you can have them create apps for you, right? And so a lot of the listeners probably have seen these. You have like Bolt, for instance, is the name of one, or Replit, or Cursor, doesn't necessarily do the deployment, but they write the code and everything for you. So now we're getting very close to a point in time where anybody could go out there, write a prompt and say, build me an app that, and then you kind of just list out everything you want it to do. And then you just sit there and watch the machine work, right? You're just like, and I think for me, probably about, I mean, it's been several weeks ago, but I think the first time that I saw that I kind of went through that process and was just playing around with it, right? Seeing what it could do. Because for the longest time, you would try to use different AI tools to help you in the development process, and it would still make a lot of mistakes. It would put things into your code you didn't want it to put in there, and so you had to be careful. You have to be careful with what you do. You don't really want it to write all of your code and then just trust that it's going to be secure and
Yeah.
performant and everything like that. But when I watched these platforms do that and spit out something that looks exactly what you described and it actually is functioning and working, um, I think that was a really big eye opener for me that a lot of these things are happening so quickly. AI is advancing so fast that, it's just a matter of questioning what are people who are not technology people going to want to do, right? I don't think most people are going to want to go out there and build and maintain their own app. But some people will. Some people who are interested in those kinds of things will have the opportunity to go out there and just build an app for their company that they want to use, and it does exactly what you want to do. And you don't necessarily have to go ask a vendor to, hey, can you add
Mhm.
this feature? And they're like, I don't know if you're going to add the feature, because we run into that as well, right? We get a lot of our customers asking us, and we got a laundry list of features that people want, and we can't necessarily build all of them in a timely manner. And so with AI and how it's advancing and everything, it kind of opens that door for people who are not necessarily super technical, to be able to build things on their own. And I don't think it's going to be long before that opportunity is going to be there for most people.
Yeah, it feels to me, and the reason I'm so invested in using it so often is I do feel like there's going to be a short window for those that are using AI religiously, staying up to date with all the latest and greatest, features like ChatGPT just released its agent feature. It needs some work, but you've got an agent now that's actually, booking
Yeah.
your appointments and booking, purchasing tickets and stuff for you. I'm I'm just wondering, it solved the complexities of navigating the zoning and, the overlays. That is a huge, huge pain point. It allows us to find the information, distill it, interpret it, reach out to planning, look for the highest and best use. Where I think things get crazy is when it starts designing the civil drawings. And
Mm,
it's going to be able to do that because that's arguably the longest part of the process. It's waiting for the engineer to design it and submit to the city, and then the city's civil engineer team has to review it. It takes 8 weeks to get comments back, and then there's a meeting. When you have something that's designed as fast as it's writing code in a day, and it's done,
right.
and it doesn't have the human errors because you've uploaded every bit, nook, and cranny and piece of information that the city requires for it. Oh my gosh. And then the city's going to have their own AI that analyzes it for errors, and it's instantaneous. It's you're going the level of growth that's going to happen when that occurs is going to be absolutely insane. You're going to be able to just get these things pushed through at a pace that it's really hard to comprehend, right? It's right now, I think AI is there with coding. Like if you just watch it write code, like what takes somebody weeks, it does in 30, 45 minutes. I mean,
Right.
it's crazy. That's I think what's coming at some point. So it's solving the real world problem of the information in the zoning regulations, where I would think that it would make the next like I refer to it as like the magic moment, like it's magic, is if you could go through like a due diligence process and share your screen and be like, okay, I got this parcel. Here's the topography. This is what I'm using for, and it's recording you as you go, and you're scrolling through all the screens. Okay, here's the absorption rates. Here's the builders in the area, and you do the whole DD process and train an agent to do that. And now
Hmm.
we can go out and handpick the parcels, feed it, and that's where I think that things are going. Like, where do you think this AI technology is going with where it's at?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think you get certain parts of the industry where they think that they're insulated from this, like they're not going to be impacted. But I think that's pretty short-sighted. I think that pretty much everybody. I mean, even when it comes to the work that's being done, like contractors who are doing work, you're starting to see machines out there laying tile. They're doing all sorts of things that is taking, it's going to basically disrupt these different industries. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the question is going to become in this industry and all the other industries, right, where AI is coming in and having an impact is what will happen to people's purpose. And so like if we get into a spot where it feels like this is where we're going, if we get to a spot where AI is finding the site, AI is communicating with the the seller, the seller's AI is communicating back with your AI, and
Mhm.
then the AI is communicating with the city and getting all this stuff done. Say we're at that spot at some point, and there's just, the human participation in this is maybe the actual development of the property and things like that for now. And I think that to me, that's the big question. I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not anti AI by any means. Like I think it's amazing what this can do, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for it. But I do think there's a bigger, just human element to it. Like, what does it mean for the land development industry? But what does it mean as a whole? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I do think you're right that it's spreading fast, and it's going to definitely have an impact on pretty much every process in the land development, sequence of events.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I think tech is good. It's always been good, and this is a particular industry that just has not uh, innovated, I guess is the word. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
I think that we do development the same way we did back then. It's bulldozers and pushing dirts and putting pipe in the ground and water. Like, there's no innovation.
Yeah.
I don't think we've innovated in like 50 years. It's just still the same equipment, same process, more regulations. It's going to be interesting to, civil drawings. Like, I sure they've got computers and stuff now. That definitely helps. That's sped some stuff up. But compared to other industries, I mean, my groceries arrive in 4 hours now from Amazon, and my packages arrive in 2 hours sometimes. And it's you then you go into land development and that service, and it's like, well, yeah, uh, it's gonna take me 7, 8 months to get CDs back to you. The city's gonna drag their feet for 6 months and the delays, and like there's just been no innovation there. So I'm excited to see where it goes. So
That's well, I just gonna mention on that. To me, that's the best area where AI should be able to help our industry is, and you said it already, but it's the speeding up of that process from the time that you find a piece of land, that you want to actually develop the due diligence all the way through the approval process to when you're actually turning dirt, shrinking that process way down. To me, that's the best thing that we can use it for right now to speed things up. And then of course, as long as the bureaucracy of approvals and everything like that can also be handled during that as well. That's to me, that's where we could really make a lot of progress.
yeah, no, 100%, I agree. Well, Ryan, with all the success that you've had with the software and in the being in the software land development business, what's next for you?
Just continuing to, grow our platform, get more people on the platform. I mean, that's where my head is at. That's the thing that I enjoy doing. Continuing to have conversations with customers and find different ways that we can improve, continuing to find ways that we can leverage this new technology to help our, customers and users of the platform benefit and everything. So that's what I like to do. I just like to, read about the new technologies. I like to play with the technology and see how it works, and just find ways to incorporate it into our platform. So that's my future.
And if people want to check out your software, who's it a good fit for, and where can they go to learn more about you, learn more about your company, learn more about the software?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we have two different platforms, right? So we have the lot management platform. So if you're a developer or maybe you're a broker or agent that manages the sales of lot inventory on behalf of developers, that platform could be good for you to keep track of the sales process, and then also to be able to put that interactive map on your marketing website for people to see what's available and the pricing and everything. And then on the land acquisition side, if you're out there looking for land, you want to find out ownership information, and you want to make that process efficient and organized. I think the land acquisition platform could be something that would provide that value. So you can go to letsgroove.com. So that's letsgroov rebooting.com. And once you get to the website there, there's some options. If you're looking at the lot management platform, you can sign up for a demo and we can kind of show you how that works. And then you can also start a free trial on the land acquisition platform right from the site there. No credit card needed. You can just go in, do a trial, see if it's something that provides you any value. And if not, no worries. But if so, we'd love to have you.
All right. Very cool. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for dropping all the gold nuggets today.
Hey, I appreciate it, Brandon.